Zack Snyder's movies have long been labeled as too dark, the kind of stuff people claim kids shouldn't even peek at. And sure, Snyder definitely leans into mature themes, but calling his films dark? That might be a bit of an overstatement. Take Man of Steel, for instance. When Henry Cavill first donned the cape in 2013, some fans swore the movie was so intense it scared the fun out of Superman, and apparently, out of kids, too. But the internet has receipts, and one adorable video is flipping that narrative on its head, proving that even little ones can't resist the charm of the modern-day Kryptonian. Henry Cavill and Zack Snyder's fans made fans of James Gunn's Superman eat their words after they stated that kids were afraid of them. A normal conversation on X turned sour when a person claimed that Snyder cultists wouldn't be able to understand how kids shouldn't be afraid of Superman since he is the symbol of hope. This time, fans of Zack Snyder and fans of James Gunn are fighting once again over who had the better knowledge of Superman. With Snyder having Henry Cavill as his Man of Steel and Gunn having David Corenswet as his Superman, the two fandoms collided as the release date of James Gunn's Superman, with David Corenswet, comes closer and closer. The comparisons, reviews, and theories are becoming more random and toxic. So yeah, kids aren't really scared to see Zack Snyder's take on Henry Cavill's Superman, and neither are they scared to see James Gunn and his version of Superman with the infamous red trunks. Although people could have answered this topic normally, a Snyder fan decided to take things one step further and upload a video on X. In an earlier interview, James Gunn sat down for a chat with Screen Rant to talk about his version of Superman and what changes he made compared to Zack Snyder's version. During their talks, Gunn may have poked an insult by stating that they wanted a Superman who kids could love and not be afraid of. Because we're trying on all these different versions, and we screen tested with trunks and no trunks. And one of the things David said is that Superman wants kids to not be afraid of him. If it was indeed a poke towards Zack Snyder and his version of Superman, it was a poke well done and so subtle. However, the tweet does prove that kids aren't as scared of Zack Snyder's movies as some of the adults are. It was David Corenswet and James Gunn who came up with the thought of making their Superman wear red trunks at the bottom, like in the comic books. For a while, Gunn was against the idea since not even Zack Snyder could make them look cool. However, it did seem quite random that the opinion regarding Henry Cavill and Zack Snyder's Superman came on the internet right at a time when James Gunn is all set for the release of his David Corenswet film. With David Corenswet replacing Cavill in the lead role, James Gunn's Superman is one of the most anticipated movies of all time. The old versus new Superman debate that pits David Corenswet and Henry Cavill against each other will certainly overstay its welcome, and with every new bit of information, it's only going to get intense. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. The recent topic of debate is the DC character's bond with the sun, which has always been central to his narrative. The contrast between how Zack Snyder's and James Gunn's versions of the superheroes heal themselves speaks volumes. The latter has gone for a complete shift in his interpretation, so let's look at how these two differ. David Corenswet's Superman heals with high-tech sunlight, while Henry Cavill's uses raw power. Here's how their approaches define each version. We see the Fortress of Solitude emerge, the superhero's headquarters, away from civilization. Krypto tugs on his cape and brings him inside, where a squad of cape-clad advanced robots is ready to receive and treat him. The latest sneak peek of David Corenswet's Superman features a starkly different vision from what we've previously seen. James Gunn opens the scene with our injured hero, who's crashed and landed on the ice, possibly after a battle. He whistles for Krypto the Superdog, who rushes for his aid and begins to drag him. In Man of Steel, we saw Henry Cavill's Kal-El facing overwhelming odds without a safety net. At the moment, he had no access to the Fortress of Solitude and no superpowered allies. His most defining scene came during the World Engine battle, when he was overpowered and brutalized by the terraforming machine's gravity beam. They use concentrated sunlight to heal Superman, and these rays seem to be simulated by Kryptonian technology that bathes him in restorative solar energy. It's evident that Gunn is embracing the whimsical and inventive side of the superhero lore, focusing on world building and not just the character. The way they healed in their respective universes tells us everything about the intention and the story being told. Where Cavill is more like a mythic figure and lone warrior, Corenswet's iteration suggests that he is part of a world where his heroism is supported by friendship, advanced science, and a superpowered dog. So, Gunn's Superman isn't just a reboot but a tonal reinvention. He seemed broken and alone until a ray of sunlight pierced through the storm clouds. This scene plays out like his rebirth, where he absorbs the solar energy and recharges his cells in real time. Within seconds, he's back to his feet, stronger than ever, ready to obliterate his enemies. So, Zack Snyder's version of Superman was fundamentally alien, and he was struggling to harness his power in a world that already feared him. On the other hand, Gunn's approach suggests that the DC superhero is part of something bigger as he offers a more optimistic and interconnected take on the character. Ben Affleck recently ended his tenure in the DCU playing Batman. His tenure can be best described as a disappointing one as he did not really get to delve deep into the character and was not given the chance to do so. He was never given a solo film. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. He had a horrible time filming Justice League, and therefore, it is sad for fans and also for him to not get a prop chance at really doing justice to the character. It would have been interesting to have had Ben Affleck helm a DC film. Since his departure from playing Batman, Ben Affleck was rumored to direct a DCU project under James Gunn. Gunn commented on this aspect of Affleck wanting to helm a DC film saying, via /film. And we're working with Ben Affleck, who really wants to be, and has been a part of our architectural team trying to bring things together, and he really wants to direct one of our projects. We're excited for him doing that. But this is the story of Damian Wayne, who is Batman's actual son, who he didn't know existed for the first 8 to 10 years of his life. However, Affleck has come out and addressed Gunn's statements saying that he is not interested in being a part of or directing any of Gunn's DCU films. He told The Hollywood Reporter, "I would not direct something for the James Gunn DC. Absolutely not. I have nothing against James Gunn. Nice guy, sure he's going to do a great job. I just wouldn't want to go in and direct in the way they're doing that. I'm not interested in that." The two statements made by the two individuals are interesting because Affleck's comments come as a total contrast to what Gunn said about him. Maybe something did not work out or Affleck changed his mind after initially agreeing to work with Gunn. But it would have been interesting to have had Affleck helm a DC film as he wanted to do a solo Batman film before also. Currently, it seems Affleck wants to leave DC for good and move on to greater things. He recently said that The Flash was the most satisfying portrayal of the character and the good time had ended too soon. Gunn had also indicated that he still was talking to Affleck about being a part of making the new DCU. However, Affleck addressed Gunn's comments and confirmed that he is not interested in being in any capacity with Gunn's DCU. Ben Affleck recently ended his tenure in the DCU playing Batman. His tenure can be best described as a disappointing one as he did not really get to delve deep into the character and was not given the chance to do so. He was never given a solo film, he had a horrible time filming Justice League, and therefore, it is sad for fans and also for him to not get a prop chance at really doing justice to the character. It was recently announced that Ben Affleck's biographical sports drama Air will receive the first ever Gotham Visionary Icon and Creator Tribute at the Gotham Awards this year. The ceremony will honor Affleck's efforts to bring the incredible story about the shoe partnership that defined Michael Jordan and the team behind the film. Jeffrey Sharp, executive director of the Gotham Film and Media Institute, said, via Variety, "Both gripping and hilarious, Air is a deeply refreshing reminder to the film industry that audiences respond to smart, original narratives. By capturing the dramatic story behind the most monumental partnership in the history of sports marketing, the film highlights the power of knowing your worth and using that knowledge to take the right risks. We are privileged to honor both the story behind a legend and the Air team who brought that story to life with a visionary icon and creator tribute. The film deserves the honor as it was an inspiring yet funny portrayal of a monumental moment in the history of sports and the career of a legend like Michael Jordan. Fans who have not experienced this wonderful film can watch it on Amazon